When you think of the top rarest retail Nintendo Entertainment System NTSC games, people usually talk about stadium events, Bonk's Adventure, Panic Restaurant, and of course, Little Samson. Stadium Events is a well-known grail and worth a ton of money. The game was sold on the eastern coast of the United States and said to have only sold around 200 copies before it was recalled by Nintendo themselves and rebranded World-Class Track Meet. Panic Restaurant is a wonderful platformer with a very unique and beautifully drawn art design. Bonk's Adventure, released in 1994, is an incredible port of the TurboGrafx-16 game, a really solid platformer, and if I do say, one of my favorite mascots of all time. And then there's Little Samson. Little Samson comes up all the time, but what is it besides one of the rarest NES games of all time? When people hear the name Little Samson, most people think that it's about the character from the Bible, Samson, which it is not. Little Samson is a fictional character and a platformer developed by Kikira for the Nintendo Entertainment System and published by Taito in 1992. In Japan, the game was released on June 26, 1992 under the name Little. The game made its way to North America in November of 1992, and there was a name change from Little to Little Samson. This game is considered one of the holy grails for not just NES collectors, but all video game collectors. But why is Little Samson so sought after? Is it merely because of the rarity? Or is the game really that good? Well, first we need to talk about why it's so rare in the first place. With the TurboGrafx-16 and the Sega Genesis both being released in 1989, and the Super Nintendo coming out in 1991, many gamers had already leapt into the 16-bit era. In my opinion, that's why a lot of the later released NES games are so rare. At that time, gamers wanted the latest and greatest in graphics. In fact, I remember a lot of my friends at the time trading in their old consoles and games. That never interested me because I knew at some point, much like films and music, I'd want to go back and revisit them. Well, back to Little Samson. The first time I laid eyes on Little Samson was in 2013 in Bedford, Indiana.
You know, the Little Samson was one of the last ones I bought in a box like that. So if there's one on the shelf, like that.
Yeah. Holy shit. There we were filming Nintendo Quest, and I had the pleasure of checking out the collection of the legendary Todd Curtis. It was in 2013 that I first played Little Samson, and thanks to Todd, now I got to own it. I put the game into the top loader and turned the power on. The title screen popped up and I was given a choice of 4 stages with 4 different characters. There was Little Samson, Kikira the dragon, Gamm the golem, and KO the mouse. I chose Little Samson and immediately the game looks and feels familiar. Why is that? Well, as it turns out, the company Kikira is made up of ex-Capcom employees, one being Shinichi Yoshimoto, who worked on some of my favorite games of all time, such as Strider. And Ghouls and Ghosts. And Akira Kitamura, the creator of Mega Man. Also, the art design for Little Samson was created by Kiyoshi Utada. Besides Little Samson, Takira's other games included Nostalgia 1907, which was released for the Sharp X68000 and the Mega CD, and a fun little platformer named Coco Ron for the Famicom. Around this time in 1992, along with the console wars being in full swing, there was something else going on. The Mascot Wars. With Mario and Sonic going head to head and Bonk not that far behind, it seemed that Taito wanted to enter the ring. Taito, a Japanese gaming company known for Bubble Bobble, Elevator Action, Jungle Hunt, and of course the legendary Space Invaders. It seems that Taito found their mascot in Little Samson and Takeru found themselves a publisher in Taito. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances stated earlier, Little Samson is said to have sold less than 10,000 copies in North America. When the game was released in 1992, it pretty much went under the radar. In fact, I had a really difficult time finding any publications that would show anything on Little Samson from back in the day. There's a very small article from GamePro number 38 from September 1992, and on page 138 it's under the heading Pro Short Shorts. The article reads, and I quote, "Save your crown by fighting bizarre prehistoric creatures. Play one of 4 heroes. Each hero has their own weapon and terrain to cover, so don't get a haircut until you play this game." What? There's an issue of Nintendo Power from September 1992 on page 20. Here you'll find a good little write-up on the story and the lore of Little Samson. And I quote, "A young fighter, a bold dragon, a rock warrior, and a bomb-dropping mouse fight together for the freedom of their kingdom in Little Samson from Taito. The names and looks of the characters are cute, but the game itself is a serious challenge. Emperor Hans of the Kingdom of the Imperial Forgy have called Little Samson and his fellow fighters to stop the evil Takid from spreading his black magic throughout the land. The members of this curious quartet possess their own magic abilities which are conjured up from 4 mystic bells. Switch from one fighter to the next as the situation dictates." Now, we only have a few more questions to ask ourselves here. Is the price of this game now justified? At the time of recording this, I can only find 2 auctions on eBay for the NTSC version of Little Samson. There was a point in time on eBay, if you were seriously looking for this game, you could find a bunch of listings. Now, that seems to have changed. The game continues to be rare and scarce. Is it worth the price? Well, you guys let me know in the comments below. The final question, is the game any good? Oh yeah, it's good. Not only does it play well, it's fun, it's challenging, and the ability to switch between characters on the fly adds a new depth to the platforming genre. First we have Little Samson, who can jump and shoot his bells, very similar to the way Mega Man moves. What's really great about Little Samson, probably I would say the best character, but he can actually grab walls, so he could swing on top of the ceiling like this, and kind of like Ninja Gaiden style, he could cling. So great! Kikira the dragon is really fantastic. She can actually hover if you hold the jump button down, so she's really great for getting you out of sticky situations or kind of areas you just want to traverse and not kind of bother with. She also has this charge attack if you just hold down the attack button and let go. Triple the power of the fireballs. Gamm is an absolute juggernaut. A huge rock beast who is the tank of the group, can take the most damage, has the most HP, and has a devastating rock fist that flies out to smash his enemies. KO the mouse is a really awesome and unique character. By far, he is the fastest of the group, but also has the smallest HP. He makes up for that with his devastating bombs that are actually really tough to land. You need some serious skills to use KO. Oh, did I mention he can traverse walls and ceilings? Little Samson is a holy grail that has been sought after by many collectors now for decades. It continues to become more rare and find new audiences just discovering this wonderful hidden gem. The gameplay is tight and top-notch, the soundtrack for each of the characters is catchy and memorable, the boss designs and art direction of the game are beautiful and well-crafted. Little Samson is truly a gaming legend.